Sabotage this is Jeff.
This is David.
David.
Yes, Jeff?
You might not know this about me, but I enjoy Monster Hunter a lot.
Oh, okay.
I like Monster Hunter so much that I'm going to recommend Monster Hunter Generation Ultimate.
You say that like you have to have caveats. What is this?
I love Monster Hunter World. It's like one of the greats, one of the best. Personal, it's like mountain.
Mm-hmm.
But much like something like Final Fantasy or Mega Man, Dark Souls even, to a certain extent.
Why does Monster Hunter World look so garbagey right now?
I'm going to pet this sheep, and then I'm going to make out with it just a little bit. This is adorable.
Oh, is it called a loofah?
Well, that's happening. It's called a moofa.
Moofa, sorry.
This is the Burna village. Moofas are one of the quest counter lady person here. Is very interested in improving the PR of the. Pretty much everyone is interested in the PR of their respective villages.
Okay.
This is I really like Monster Hunter World.
Okay.
Everything that I didn't like about classic Monster Hunter was pretty much fixed in Monster Hunter World.
Right.
But
look at the padlock.
I still like Monster Hunter enough because there's that core. There's this core of just like fighting monsters, getting cool stuff, getting cool things for your kitties, that I find very appealing. So this is why this recommendation has like a very huge caveat, which is that if you played Monster Hunter World especially, and you really enjoyed that, this will test you about what it is specifically that you enjoyed of the Monster Hunter formula. Because this game is the classic Monster Hunter formula is oozing with layers of unintuitive bull.
Ooh.
And we're gonna try and peel those layers away. While I showed like this is the best part of the game, which is you have a good armor set, in this case a Rathalos armor, so that I have attack up large and also weakness exploit, so I did 50% extra damage on hitting a weak point, which is great. And we're gonna be doing an adept sword and shield. We're gonna be doing some adept charge blade. I think we're maybe do a little bit of prowler. I really enjoy a lot of the different weapon types and styles of this game. This is a game that is very slow and deliberate. The animation priority is the name of the game. Right. I mean, this is the style that Dark Souls was derived from. Let's say the pedantic and let's say internet straw man. Okay. Would be like, no, these games are completely different. Like, no, sir, you're misunderstanding how comparisons work and influences. If you ever noticed in Dark Souls how there was incomprehensible tiny icons that represented buffs that weren't explained and were put next to your health bar, it's because Monster Hunter. Right. Because that's sort of the modus operandi for the entire sort of game. Is it doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't tell you how to use anything. It doesn't tell you how to make anything. It doesn't tell you the best place to find things. It doesn't tell you how to find items to get things upgraded. It doesn't tell you what things upgrade into, what they upgrade into at what point. If you'll need like extra specific items from certain maps that only appear in high rank versions and not low rank versions. So there's a lot of extra work that has to go in. You have to sort of put into an old Monster Hunter game, which is why this video might as well be recommending this game and also the website Kiraniko and the free app on Android, which is called MHGU Database, which are great. Because you can do things like look up what things you get from a monster. You can put them on a wish list and check them off. You can... If something says you need to find 3, I don't know, frost berries, you can just go there and be like, where do I find those? And it's like, all right, it's in this map, it's in this region of this map. Go gather it, you'll be fine. As far as I'm concerned, it's necessary. This is why I got kicked into the loading zone.
Loading zones, huh?
Yes. there's discrete areas. They're loaded into tiny chunks, and the advantage of this is that you can cheese them with safety by just walking into a loading zone and healing. But then the disadvantage is, of course, if you fight near an exit, the monsters are not bound to disappearing immediately, but you are when you hit a loading zone. So there was I was playing today, and I beat the monster. It was actually a great Macau, the same thing fighting right here.
Right, that you just murdered.
And I just murderated it, but it died near the edge of a loading zone. So I was trying to carve it, after it's dead, get some items from it. And everything takes forever. And Yan Kutku, just another monster, another sort of trash tier, whatever, fire chicken, flies in. And because everything is super aggressive in this game, and all they want to do is attack you, even after you've already become invincible because the mission's over, basically. And it just knocked me, and I fell backwards into the loading zone. So I ran back to go get my carves again, and it happened 2 more times. Because it was standing right over its corpse, and I was just like, well, maybe I can just grab it real quick, and then it hit me, and then it hit the loading zone, and then it happened again. All of this could be yours, David. It could be yours.
Jeff, I'm gonna say something as somebody
Imagine doing
who
a
has
gathering
spent
quest.
hours playing an efficiency simulator.
Yes.
This is some esoteric bullshit.
Imagine doing a gathering mission where you have to get a rare carve off of just or not even a rare carve. Let's say you're doing a gathering mission where you have to get a semi-rare drop from a plant.
Okay.
And after going through the entire map and getting all of the gathering points on the map, you still don't have enough to complete the quest. So you run around and wait for them to regenerate. So you're literally just standing there with the game on while you're looking at something on the internet, waiting for the timer to happen so that the gathering spots have a chance to respawn. So you go through and you get it again. I'm like, and it's those points I'm like, why am I playing this? And then, because the major problem with this game is that there is way too many things in it. This is good if it's monsters, of which there's like almost 100 different types of monsters.
Right.
That's great. There's literally thousands of pieces of armor, including armor for your cats, and you can have as many cats as you want. There's like this whole, separate, palico system specifically to this game. That's great. But then there's also like 700 quests, and like a lot of them are just kind of gathering, and it's especially poor at the beginning of the game when you just start, and it's just like, go get 5 herbs, go get 10 mushrooms, go get 15 abyssal mushrooms, kill 5 small monsters, kill 10 small monsters. And then eventually it's like, okay, you can go do a real monster. And this Great Macau here is like the first one that's like considered a large monster even in the game. Oh, this is a high rank version. And technically the mission is to kill 2 of them, but we're only gonna see 1. That's fine. But once you get past all of that, and you actually have like the part of the game that you want to do, which for me is monster hunting, then it starts to get very fun, because the amount of content in this game is its greatest strength, because there's the 14 weapon types, and then a 15th one, which is actually the prowler type.
Right, which is where you be a kitty.
You can play as the cat, and that has some advantages. It was meant to be simpler, the cat, so it actually makes it easier for like gathering missions. We trap that monster. Technically, I have to find another one. We'll just skip ahead.
Let's skip that? Okay.
We'll skip ahead to a different mission. We'll check out the Palico Ranch, where all the Palicos hang out.
Why would you ever leave?
Generations Ultimate, as the name might imply with Generations, it's like a greatest hits of old Monster Hunter. So there's basically every monster that was ever there, except for the Great Jaggy for some reason. I don't know why it's not there.
Because screw the Great Jaggy.
Like every map, the Jaggy armor is still there, but just not the...
Okay.
It has the tiny Jaggy, the Jaggy and the Jaggias, but not the Great Jaggy for some reason. Anyways.
Okay.
I digress.
Right.
But it has the maps from all of the previous generations of Monster Hunter games. So it has like the original PS2 Monster Hunter map, and it looks plain and crappy, kind of like an early PS2 game. And then it has the ones from like Freedom Unite, and the one that I'm more familiar with, this is the one I actually played, which was 3 Ultimate. So it has I think it's a deserted island, I think is what the map is called. But it's the one from 3 Ultimate, which is right outside Moga Village. And it has all of the characters from those games as cameos. Like Neko means cat is here, and he was in the 3rd one. And, you know, it has like the Moga Chief, and it has all of the, you know, the gals from all of the different games. So it's a greatest hits.
Also,
so
your cat is wearing a leather
service.
jacket and a Bumblebee outfit.
Yes, he is. He is, in fact, wearing those things.
Okay.
This is true. It's true. He has got pink fur.
And shades.
And shades. Yes, he's a pretty cool cat. The other cat is wearing the Plesioth armor, which is like a rubber sort of diving suit and sort of an awkward cap. It's kind of like a bowl cut cap.
Yeah.
Made of like rubber.
It's like they half watched Fifth Element through like a really foggy lens.
David, I sent my cats out and they killed a monster and they're tired, so I'm letting them sleep.
Are they tired or are they exhausted because you shot them out of a cannon, apparently?
I shot them out of a cannon, but that's just normal. And then they went and they fought and killed a monster, and they did a good job, so now they can go rest at the Palico dojo, which is also where you can learn things. You teach your Palicos, and they can teach each other, and you can train, and then you can put them in training camp where they just kind of like sit in the middle and they like lift weights, and it's kind of adorable. But let's actually we'll do some actual kitty fighting.
You're a prowler right now?
Yes, this is the prowler mode. So you can get a crap ton of cats in this game. They actually have their own subtypes, and I recommend going to the internet to find out what they all are.
Because the game doesn't tell you, right?
Yes. For instance, if you get a Palico that has a bomb affinity, so it's a bomb cat, it'll learn, bombing type moves, and it can throw bombs and stuff like that. But it also has an intrinsic adept evade. Of course it does.
Yeah.
The protection cat has the adept guard from the adept style lance, and the bomb cat has the adept evade. Adept evade is very good. In this game, if you have an adept style on your weapon, and you have a weapon type that has an adept evade, for instance, the bomb cat.
Or that sword and shield you were using.
Yeah, or the sword and shield I was using, because I was using the adept style of the sword and shield for that one. If you dodge into an attack and you get hit during your dodge, it will go into a special adept. Well, it depends on the weapon, what effect you get. Usually you run away a little bit and you can do a special counterattack. They also take no damage. This is problematic when playing other games and switching back and forth, because it's a play style that strongly encourages you diving headfirst into the hitboxes of the monsters, which is very satisfying when it's pulled off. Which is another great part of this game is the satisfaction of the mastery of the systems of the game, of which there are a butt ton of systems. So getting like that perfect dodge, getting that perfect parry, there's a lot to do and to kind of learn from monsters and whatnot. It's just that you have to traipse through a bit of stuff to get there. My bomb kitty, when you start crawling, they all start crawling with you.
That's adorable.
My bomb kitty, who I have dubbed Blastodon.
Of course you have.
Halen and Metatron are health kitties. Halen because, hail, and then it's not too creative, but there we go.
And then Metatron because Metatron?
I was like, I don't know. Just Metatron's a fun name.
Okay. You're fighting a very pissed off armadillo bear.
Yep, that is an Arzuros. One of the other great... because there's so many monsters in this game, to compare it with Monster Hunter World, it has more types of wyverns. Right. In fact, things that aren't wyverns.
What?
So, it has mammals and things like bears and crustaceans, like, weird crab monsters and cool things like that. And also 700 versions of a Rathalos, which there's too many Rathalos in the game. I'm just going to say that. There's too many Rathalos in Monster Hunter World.
I was about
and there's
to say,
not
there's
even
too many of those in that
quarter
game.
of the types of Rathaloses as there are in this game. I digress.
Yeah. That looked like an interesting minigame that you just did for the mounting. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's mounting. Mounting in this game is pretty straightforward. If you do aerial attacks, you do an invisible meter builds up that does mounting damage, and eventually the monster will be knocked down. You'll jump on top of them. The meter will count up. If the monster is shaking or roaring, then if you attack, the meter will go down. But if it's not roaring, so it's basically just attack when it's blue or green, don't attack when it's red. And then hold R the whole time, because technically you're supposed to grab on when you're not attacking, but you can register both at the same time, so it's just easier to just hold on the whole time.
Okay.
But yeah, it's fairly simple. That's the adept evade for the bomb cat.
Right.
Where if you roll into it, you drop a bomb, kind of like Samus in Metroid, and then you roll around and take no damage. And then you can roll around in a circle and then get right back to the fight. It's great. This kitty is also using Brachydios armor, which is why it has little like boxing gloves. The Brachydios is a slime-covered punching wyvern that explodes. And is great. Really like the Brachydios. It has explosive slime that it slobbers all over its hands, which are just like blunt tips, or not tips, but just like blunt objects. And then it just kind of pounds the ground and leaves explosives everywhere. It's good times. The Prowler, which is the type, we'll say the weapon type I'm using, has 100% complete different rules to every other system in the game. You don't have hot and cold drinks, you don't have stamina management, you don't actually even have to have trank bombs, because they just have trank bombs contextually at all times. You don't have to have bug nets, you don't have to have pickaxes. Cats always have infinite of all of those.
So,
which is good for gathering missions. When you bring a kitty to a gathering mission, it's good stuff.
Question: you haven't said anything that makes me think that playing as a kitty isn't the way to go always.
They're weaker than hunters. So you're always going to be doing more damage faster, more efficiently. There's a lot more variety of weapons for the the hunters, obviously, because you have so many different. Not only do you have the 14 different types of weapons, but also each one has 6 different hunting styles, of which maybe 2 or 3 you'll actually want to switch between or try and learn. The adept style, which is focused on dodge rolling and doing parries, and valor style, which is you have to build up a meter. So it's like you start off slightly gimped, and then you build up a meter. And then as long as you're aggressive and you keep the meter, it's like more meter management, of which there's already a lot. pulled out a little smoke bomb. It's a little tired. It's a little tired.
Also, shock per isn't.
Yes.
Everything's a pun.
Of course.
Of course.
That could be a little. It can be a little trying, because it can make it hard to tell what cats are saying sometimes. I will give some credit where it's due. One of the cats in the Palico farm talks normally and then has to correct himself. So he'll just be like, all right, now I'll let you go out to the... And he'll be like, meow, I'll let you go out and hunt. He's like, so tired.
You seem to be playing online.
I am playing online, and I'm using a Brachydios Charge Blade with the Adept style. It's another great... The Charge Blade is so good. It's slow. Everything is much slower than Monster Hunter World. It's more deliberate. But this has both a... it has a sort of a parry kind of mechanic when you have the shield out, but it has the dodge when you have the axe out. So it has both of the Adept styles, which is great.
Right.
Get out my red shield so I can get an attack bonus. Do some charge slashes to fill up my vials. Transfer the vials into the shield, convert to axe mode, and then start doing some juicy
Right,
elemental
proper hit.
discharges. It feels pretty good.
I have to say, the aesthetics of the slashes are a lot more over the top in this game, and I do actually like that a fair amount.
There's some proper anime in this game, especially since, in addition to all of the things that I mentioned, which are like completely separate systems, there's also Hunter Arts, which is like the ZL plus X at the bottom there, which are completely separate from all the other things. It's another. There it is. It's a chainsaw blade. Very much like the chainsaw blade.
That's pretty cool.
And that one is specific to Charge Blade.
Okay.
So all 14 weapon types have their own unique Hunter Arts, and then there's some that are shared, like Absolute Evasion, some other things like that. And these are just other special moves that you can, build meter over time by doing damage and some other things. So there's a lot of stuff in the game. Just
Also,
kind of,
it took you forever to pick that up. Oh my god.
Yes. I mentioned this in one of the Monster Hunter World videos, but in this game, you are considered to have been you're successful at picking up an item after the animation, not before.
Right.
Which means you can have situations where you're started the carving animation and it's almost done, but then it's like, oh no, the mission's over, and then it says, oh, you didn't get anything, or the monster disappears because it timed out, and it's like, oh, you couldn't carve anything. It's weird. It just didn't happen.
Strange.
Yeah.
Now, what is
I only
this thing
have
called?
orange at the moment. This is called a Celtis.
Celtis.
This is like a bug type. Those are Conchu. Those little guys.
Yeah. So this is even more like Pokemon than I thought it was gonna be.
There's Pokemon-ness to it.
Yeah.
This little thing's not quite dead yet, though.
It looks kind of dead.
I only have orange sharpness at the moment, but I don't have time to sharpen. This thing's gonna die so fast with all these people attacking it.
Right.
It's not even worth it.
Oh, there it goes.
There we go. Yeah, good job. Good job.
What's that big old dude?
I don't know. This looks like kind of hippo thing. I don't know what the name of that one is. Just mind its own business.
Oh, you got a nice work from Cookie M230.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I really, really enjoy playing this game cooperatively online.
Huh.
It is tons of fun to just go into Hunter Hubs, and the progression of the game, you have single player content, which is called Village, and you have multiplayer content, which is called Hub, multiplayer hub. Those are completely separate missions. The multiplayer hub is always geared towards 4 players, so it always has the multiplayer scaling. So if you want to do it single player, so that multiplayer scaling.
Okay. If you want to do like extra hard mode.
Yeah. Yeah, and those are the only ones that you can play cooperatively. The village quests are all offline single player kind of stuff. There's some asynchronous multiplayer stuff where you can trade guild cards, and then the people you play with will show up as hunters in your offline hub, and you can send them off on quests like your cats. So they'll just be like, hey, I'm gonna go fight a Gamoth or a whatever, a Baroth or something. And you're like, all right, I will pay you enough money to do that, and then take 3 other random people from my friends list with you, and then it just goes off for missions, and they'll come back and they'll be contrite and sad if it went poorly, or they'll be jumping around if it went well.
Nice.
Yeah. Lots of little things, lots of things to manage.
Right.
Tons and tons of menus. So many menus.
I had noticed. Okay, so from the perspective of somebody who has never played a Monster Hunter other than World, though I have watched quite a few videos of...
and I, who have played a lot of 3 Ultimate and watched a whole bunch of Tri, and also Monster Hunter 1 a little bit. But.
So, as somebody coming from that perspective, this game, I'm really happy you enjoy it, because I like it when my friends like things. I like it when people like things. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's not for me.
That is perfectly understandable. I think that wait.
Though I will say, if they were to take some, I'm going to stress this, some of those monsters, none of the Rathaloses or Rathians, and put them...
we don't need more variations in Rathalai. We really don't.
And put them into Monster Hunter World, I would be so stoked. I would be so stoked.
I'd be very excited to see different wyvern types.
Like
Monster Hunter World
bugs.
has, fanged wyverns, the flying wyverns. But yeah, like bugs and weird mammals and like bears and just kind of unspeakable like Dark Souls monster boss things, whatever.
Not all
Something that seems
Val-Hazak?
Weird. Yeah, not Val-Hazak all the time, but like sometimes it seems like it's something that crawled out of Ash Lake, like the Nakarkos, which is a two-headed undead dragon. Like, okay,
All right.
that's a little disturbing. It's kind of like a two-headed undead bone dragon turtle, elder dragon.
So it's like Ouroboros, kind of.
It's like imagine like a giant bone tortoise shell.
Not Ouroboros.
And then
Wow,
as-
Genbu.
Like a Genbu, sure. Ouroboros is related. I guess you're thinking snake thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it said two heads, so double-headed, and you think, oh, it's. I can see there's a.
No, I was thinking of the the turtle that is part of Feng Shui.
Yes, one of the four mystical creatures in Chinese. Let's say China. I'm pretty sure it's China.
It's right up there with Byaku, Susanoo,
yep.
and Suzaku,
Suzaku.
and Shinryu.
Yes, I think those are the ones. Let's see. Hold on. Four mystical.
Just look up the bosses from Final Fantasy Legend 1. That's all it is. Or that one puzzle from Killer 7, or
For symbols. For mythological creatures in Chinese constellations, the azure dragon, the vermilion bird, the white tiger, the white bird. Yeah, those things.
Those
Yes.
things, yeah.
So yes. Thanks, Persona.
Thanks, Persona.
Shin Megami Tensei.
Also, Final Fantasy Legend 1, and that one puzzle from Killer 7, and any number of little times. It's like, we need 4 creatures.
How do we find 4 creatures? I guess Shinryu is also super boss in Final Fantasy 5, so it shows up in different places.
Right. Yeah. He's in 5 and... Shoot, I think he's also in 12?
He's kind of in 4? Is he in 4?
No, you're thinking...
It looks like it. It has the
looks like him, yeah.
dragon thing.
Yeah, I mean, Japanese game developers do love pulling from other mythologies and religious belief systems for their monsters, so...
Sure, fair enough.
So does D&D, for that matter.
Yes. Final Fantasy 1 is a D&D module, so...
Just a little bit. So much so that...
Like, no, it's not a priest, it's a white page. It's completely different.
It's not a beholder, because we changed the sprite. It's a gazer.
It's not a illithid. It's a Piscademon. It's completely different. It's, wizard thing with, tentacle face.
And it has an attack that instantly kills you.
Instantly kills you and can paralyze you on touch. There's some specific things that are similar.
Yeah, they're close.
Bahamut is the good dragon and Tiamat is the evil one. Look, it could be any evil dragon.
Could've.
It doesn't necessarily have to have been that. It's weird because Tiamat is, sure it's a dragon, but I don't really know exactly where Bahamut comes from, I guess, but anyways. Monster Hunter.
Two very
Generations
important
Ultimate.
words. Legally distinct.
Legally distinct.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. Thumbs up. I played it. It's on the Switch. As far as I'm concerned, Nintendo's online service at the moment is a Monster Hunter tax. So,
Okay.
so I was like, okay, Nintendo, you know that I am one of the few people that actually uses online services on your system because there's only like 1 or 2 games that have online stuff, and they're like, well, but now you have to pay us money for. Obviously, I want to play online with people, so Hunter's Hub is. I paid the tax to do that.
At least it's not a
Might
ridiculous
as well.
tax.
The amount that I plan to I've spent many hours already and plan to spend many more. And it being on the Switch is also it is my commute game, which is also great because I can go through a hunt or maybe half or maybe more depending on the actual day and whatnot. But riding the bus around is great to just have that to just do, and especially once you get to a point where you have a good workflow, so to speak, of your character.
Right.
Here's a random information. You get like, let's say you're on 4-star quests or something. And you have like 30 quests available. You only have to do, let's say, 4 or 5 of them in order to gain access to the next tier. Because every time you get to a new tier, you have to fight basically like a boss, which is an urgent quest in order to upgrade to the next rank. But you don't have to 100% complete all of the quests. You just have to do like certain ones. Where would you get this information in the game? No, of course not.
Of course
you go
not.
online to Karanico and you say, what are the key quests? Or you use the MHGU app and you say, go to the quest list, and it has little icons next to them. Like, once you have completed these, then it unlocks the next one for you. I was like, yes, very good.
So you're saying all the things that Monster Hunter World just has in it? Okay.
Yes, everything is like I said. Everything, all of the complaints I had with like the excess, like the flexing after drinking potions and all this kind of like, because in Monster Hunter Generation, the old Monster Hunter style is you paintball a monster, it wears off after 10 minutes, but that's so it shows up on your map if you have a map, because for some reason in a high rank it just dumps you off at a random location and it's like, oh, just go figure it out. But you're just like, okay, I just used a Farcaster and I got the map. Also, what's the point of having me go into a location where I don't need the map? If I'm going into a new map and I haven't been there before, I want to have the map so I can see where things are. There's like no point in introducing me to a new area and then being like, well, you know that you have to have a Farcaster in your item loadout so that you can Farcast back to the main base so you can pick up the map that's in the supply crate. It's like, well, of course I know that because I've played Monster Hunter before, but I don't feel like I should have to know that. It's just little things, like the fact that you don't really find monsters. They're always in the same spots. This is the internet straw person's coming back as like a complaint about, it being simplified, which is usually a euphemism for they made it appeal to casuals, and I, being an intellectual who has played it since it was bad, must, of course, they've changed it, and now people are enjoying the thing I love, and their enjoyment is taking my enjoyment away, because the enjoyment for this thing I have is a zero-sum game, and it's important that I ruin their enjoyment of the new thing so that I can bolster up my enjoyment of the old thing. It doesn't have to be that way, by the way. Internet straw person.
Right. Well, I mean,
internet straw person is like, oh, you have to go search for monsters. Oh, it's a hand holding now. The scout flies just take you right there.
Jeff, internet straw person.
Internet straw person is wrong.
Internet straw person doesn't derive pleasure from the thing they do. They derive pleasure from being one of the few people who enjoys the thing they do.
They are united, and sometimes the straw person is united in the things they hate, not so much in the things that they love. We're going to keep it positive. But in old Monster Hunter, you can just get Psycho Serum. You just buy Psycho Serum. What does Psycho Serum do? It just shows you where the monster is on the map. So you're just like, I guess I need to find where it is. You could have played the mission before, and in case you don't know, you could look it up online, which is probably a good idea, because you should probably look up most things in this game online. Or you just take a Psycho Serum, and it's like, that's where the monster is. So I just have Psycho Serums in my loadout, because they're like, I will probably know where they are eventually, but I want to know now. So I just get those. And it's like, it's just a specialized item to solve a specialized problem. There's a lot of that kind of thing. And a lot of it was removed, simplified, made it more like actual tracking monsters in the case of Monster Hunter World. But even in Monster Hunter World, it'll be the same thing where, there'll be places where they start and where they roam. And eventually you'll just be like, all right, I know where the freaking monster is going to be. It's in the same spot. It's in its nest, or it's heading to go eat, and that kind of knowledge will just happen eventually. I digress.
Yeah, it's almost like
It's
and I'm saying this with all the love in my heart. It's almost like Monster Hunter World is a better game.
This is true. It is a better game. It is categorically better. It does not have as much content, which is why this is why I'm recommending this game. Not because Monster Hunter World doesn't have as much content, which is literally true, because it's a new game, but also just because if in your heart, and sometimes you'll just know, but if in your heart there is an obsessive compulsive Monster Hunter player, and it might be there, where like there's the core of Monster Hunter, which is a fairly unique thing. It's kind of its own genre. There's other things that are trying to do the Dauntless and God Eater kind of things, but there's really only one Monster Hunter, and it's kind of been the same for a long time. But the sameness of the old style of Monster Hunter, which is sort of a singular vision of this sort of just like plucky part of Capcom that makes this low-key, extremely popular thing. It was always popular in Japan, naturally, but then finally they made one that other people could play, and people decided they wanted to play it. I was like, hey, weird.
They put it on a platform people in other countries owned a lot of. All right, continue.
If you know in your heart that you're a Monster Hunter person, and you can see some of that in the gameplay where you're like, I do kind of want to get. It's like, I do want to get the Valor meter charged up on my longswords, and then get the Spirit gauge up to about 20% so that I have enough so that when I do an R attack, it'll have a parry on it. And I do want to hit that Astalos out of the sky when it tries to dive bomb me with that parry, and it feels real good when that happens. This game might be for you. Also, if you have a commute.
I was about to say, also if you have a commute.
Also, if you have a commute, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm sure over this portion of the video, I've put some other choice bits. I don't actually know what they are at the moment because I'll go and edit it in later. Right. But I imagine it's like I love the Adept style sword and shield. I love the Adept style charge blade. I play a little bit of Adept style dual blades. They're okay. Striker Lance, a little disappointing. Not gonna lie. The quickness and the fluidity of the Monster Hunter World iteration of the Lance is far superior to the clunky, doesn't quite flow as well. Everything moves slower in general, which is just kind of, that's just the pace of the game. But sometimes it's frustrating when you're like, why doesn't the X attack go into an A attack? Or this A attack goes into another A attack, but this A attack doesn't go into an X plus A attack unless it follows an X attack. Anyways, lots of little things. But Lance is still fun, especially with all the Hunter arts. I guess Insect Glaive, I'm gonna say on that, just because the iteration in Monster Hunter World, especially with the 2-stick aiming, which technically there are 2 sticks for the Switch version, but the design of the game is a game that was made many years ago for a system that did not have, so you don't quite have the extra benefits for like insect glaving and things like that. But there's Valor Longsword is especially satisfying, especially since it has that invincible parry on the Spirit Blade, the first Spirit Blade combo. It's very, very nice to just deny a monster that's coming at you and it's the size of a mountain. And those little moments that shine through and you're like, yeah, I do want to have my cat look like some sort of
gangster biker bee.
A gangster biker or a bee, or literally Mega Man, or holding up a sign like a Looney Tunes cartoon, or whatever. Or I really want to make a Lance that is a fondue fountain. So it's literally just a cheese fountain. So
what?
This game is very plus or minus depending on what you want out of the game. There are very, very strange weapon designs. There's a pizza charge blade. It's like a pizza cutter and a pizza shield. It's like, why not? Sure.
Okay. So I'm gonna give you a David. I'm gonna give you a David hot take.
You can just go make just wear a bathrobe. Because there's a hot spring. Because it's a
Japanese game. Yeah.
If you use the hot spring, then you do things for it's technically a footpath.
Right.
And they'll give you tickets, and then you can just make armor, and it's just just wear in the bathroom. Yeah. Why not?
I'm gonna give you a David hot take.
Okay, hot take. Thank you. Yes.
I love Capcom silliness.
Okay.
I love it.
You love that Capcom whimsy.
Just because Monster Hunter is not a serious game. When it tries to be really serious, it's just funnier. So,
yes.
they just, when they lean into it just the right amount, which is almost always what they do, because as it turns out, just the right amount, there's a lot of leeway there. Kitty Mega Man, perfect.
Kitty Mega Man is pretty good. There is a quest where a wanderer from the east says that, I hear that there is a monster from your land that wields a katana. Katana. I would like you to get me one of those because that sounds awesome and dope. And you go fight it, and it's a Glavenus, and it has a razor-sharp tail that it sharpens with its teeth, and then it flips over bodily to stab you to death with it.
That's kind of cool.
We're like, okay, all right. And it has like a screen-clearing, 360 tail spin of death attack, kind of like Sif kind of thing, where it charges it up, where it kind of grabs its own tail as if it was a dog that finally found its tail.
Achieved bliss and joy, yeah.
Yeah, and bliss and joy. It's the dog Ouroboros. It charges it up, and it's this screen-filling 360 attack. If you parry that, it feels real good. You're just sitting there, just all right, I know what you're doing. Just get it over with. This is not going to work out for you. I know you think that you've got me dead to rights, and I'm just this tiny little person, and you're going to do this screen clearing, tail attack, whatever. You don't even know that you're already dead because this is anime. Anime's about to happen. I'm about to show you the side of my sword, and it's gonna shing so loud it's gonna cut your tail off. You might enjoy that. I'm gonna stop talking about Monster Hunter. I mean, not really, because I'll still talk about Monster Hunter probably for ever.
At least for another year.
I'll stop talking about this Monster Hunter at this moment.
Right. Well, if you have enjoyed listening to us talk for about 3/4 of an hour about Monster Hunter, feel free to go to our Patreon where you can commit so much per month, which really helps. If not, one-time hits via PayPal are wonderful. Other than that, comment, subscribe, do all that. And we will see you next time when we talk about probably Monster Hunter.
It's probably Monster Hunter.
It's probably Monster Hunter.
Generations Ultimate. Doesn't quite roll off the tongue as well.
No, not as good as this Dark Souls.
There's a monster that's an owl. It rotates its head 180 degrees, like owls do. It's very disturbing.
What's it called?
It's called a Malfestio.
That's a good name. That's a good name.
The Malfestio looks at you, and if you're behind it, it'll turn its head around, and then it'll turn the rest of its body around, and then it'll try and peck at you. And then it'll poop out a bunch of yellow dust, which makes you confused and reverses your controls.
I would be a little confused too. That's actually just gross.
Right. That's just gross. It's that's not even a problem because I want to go straight to the monster, so I will just change the one direction I need. I will rely on the hot-end dodge to get me out of this situation. It'll poop out this crazy spore cloud of confusion, and then it'll start flapping its wings in a direction so that the spore cloud goes that direction.
I would love to meet the monster. Excuse me, the Monster Hunter god. Just all right, so it made an owl, and it made it really big, and it poops confusion dust. Just poops it.
Capcom. The flagship monster is Valstrax, which is a rocket-powered dragon. It's kind of really good. Its wings have rocket engines on them. And it'll change the shape of its wings depending on what attack it's going to do. It's going to shoot, mortars into the air or shoot it into the ground to make the ground explode. And then occasionally he'll take off. Where it'll just go And you'll just see like a dot in the distance, and it'll go around, and then you'll just hear, and it'll just come straight down on you, like an extremely fast version of Beetlejuice.
That's not even a like you're just fighting robots at that point.
It's basically
it's just a robot.
Yeah, that's Mechagodzilla.
I'm just like, okay, we have to stop talking about Monster Hunter now.
I'm pressing stop.